It's giving me an error message.
You're live.
Okay. Hi, everyone. We're so excited you can join us for our third um, Campfire Chat. We've been doing these short live broadcasted programs this summer, and so this is our third one. And tonight we are joined by our Capitol Hill advocates, Alyssa Hooser, Kimi Phelps, and Danielle Bestoso. And we are so excited to have them with us to share about their recent experience representing Nevus Outreach on Capitol Hill as part of the Coalition of Skin Disease Capitol Hill meetings that took place last month. So I will let them introduce themselves briefly. Ladies, if you'll just go one at a time and share just quickly your connection to Nevus Outreach for people that might not be familiar with you and your story. Alyssa, you're first on my screen, so I'll ask you to go first.
I'm Alyssa. My son's name is Jace. He was born with a giant congenital melanocytic nevus, and he also has NCM. We started this journey back in November of 2023, so we're about 18 months in. And
Okay, thank you, Danielle.
Hey everyone, it's Danielle Bestoso. My daughter Alexandria was born in 2015 with a giant melanocytic nevus. And I just found my way back to Nevus Outreach back in January to join Lauren's team, and it's been great.
Fantastic. And Kimi?
I'm Kimmy. My son is Weston. He is almost 3 years old, so we started this back in 2022. He has CMN and NCM, and it's just been a really important thing for us to come on here and advocate.
Great. Well, we're so thankful that the three of you could join the Coalition of Skin Diseases Capitol Hill Day. So for those of you that don't know, we have a umbrella organization above a bunch of skin disease organizations called the Coalition of Skin Disease. When I came on board at Nevus Outreach in 2019, our late board chair Paul Coleman was serving on the board with the coalition and helping them kind of revamp their mission and their commitment to providing a way for people with skin disease to advocate on Capitol Hill, among other initiatives, just learning and adopting best practices across the board. So the Hill Day is something they've done for many years, sometimes partnering with the American Academy of Dermatology, but in recent years being able to do this Hill Day kind of independently on their own. And that's what these ladies got to participate and represent Nevus Outreach in May. So my first question for them is just what moment during your Capitol Hill visit had the most impact on you personally and why? Danielle, we'll start with you.
So I have never been to Washington, D.C. ever. So that was a pretty cool experience to get to see Capitol Hill and, everything, the monuments. But I would say the moment was being able to share my story, my family's story, over and over again. And it was just an amazing experience. And I got such amazing feedback from the senators and their staffers, genuine interest and really wanting to help the community. So I guess I didn't expect that. I was being kind of, I think when I was growing up, I didn't think anyone really cared on the Hill what we were doing or what was affecting people. So this was a really cool, positive experience I had.
Fantastic. Kimmy, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, so we went on several different meetings throughout the day. And so it was my last one, and I was the only one in the Virginia group. So I went in alone, and I was pretty nervous, and I was like, it's the last meeting of the day. They probably want to go home. And I ended up going to, was it Senator Kane, his staff. And I watched her like whole demeanor shift when I shared my story about Weston. Um, and I think it's because she had a medical background, so she was able to kind of understand like the medical lingo I was kind of talking to her about. And out of all the meetings, it was the only one I cried in, just because I felt so seen And I realized like the storytelling isn't just emotional for me, but it's powerful for other people to hear it. Um, and that's when I kind of like gave her my ask, which was to help the co-sponsor the Safe Steps Act, which Weston has had a really hard time getting like the right treatments and everything for his itchy nevus. And she heard us, and I left feeling like really empowered. So
For sure.
yeah.
Alyssa, what moment was impactful for you?
So like Danielle, this was my first trip ever to DC, and it was such a great experience for me. It was something I kind of needed, like on a personal level of purpose. I've shared my story on social media. We've educated, we've spread awareness, but nothing beats like sharing your story in a setting where you're advocating to someone who can truly make a difference. And I'll never forget the first meeting I went to. It was like a super young staffer. I think he had like just started. We sat down, I pulled out my paper, and I read that same story like many of you have probably already heard. Um, and I remember when I finished, I looked up at him and he just looked like a deer in headlights. And I was like, I probably traumatized this poor kid. But like I thought to myself, I was like, I guarantee you he's going to remember my story.
That's great. I know it's always interesting to have them reflect back to you as you share your story and think about the different ways that really coming to the Hill and educating really can make a huge difference. So I really appreciate you guys all taking the time out of your busy schedules as wives and moms and busy professionals to go on the Hill and share the Nevus Outreach story and share how you know, each one of us faces our own challenges, and there really is opportunity for us to partner with people that have the ability to impact real change. And so that's what's so cool about these Hill Day experiences is that you really do get to see that firsthand. And for me, that's one thing that really changed my view of advocacy as I've had these opportunities over time, and really see the power to influence research or change policy. How do you guys think that having this experience will help you recognize that power in our political system?
You go first.
Yeah, Kimi, go ahead.
So before attending Hill Day, most of my advocacy, like Alyssa, has been impacting the world through social media, and just connecting with parents and families who experienced Neva's journey, many within like the first couple of months of having the diagnosis. But after this experience, I realized that there's a whole world of advocacy literally in my backyard because we live in Quantico, so DC is like right up there. And I have the ability to go in person and help bridge the gap between our lived experiences and legislative decisions. And that the lawmakers do listen when we speak up. Our present helps us put rare diseases on the radar in a very like real human way. One of my favorite quotes that my mother-in-law says is the squeaky wheel gets the oil. And I kept just saying like, let's get squeaky, you know, that's one of those ways that we can get things done.
Yeah, Alyssa, do you have anything to add?
I don't think so. I think Kimmy covered it. I mean, it was just, I think putting a face to your story really helps too. Like being in person, being able to share your experience, and then putting a face to that story is just a great experience that way.
Danielle, you've seen a lot of, in your professional world at MGH, you've seen a lot of kind of shakeups recently in regards to the recent political climate. How does bringing that like lived experience to the Hill Day experience, like did you expect it to be distant and maybe it wasn't, or you came in with certain expectations and it was just different than how you anticipated? What do you think about that?
Yeah, certainly a lot of changes and challenges going on right now in my world here in Boston. And like I said, I kind of went into it a little negative, if I'm going to be honest. You know, what are they going to do? And are they really going to listen? And I was really surprised at how wrong I was. One of the things that they told me was when people actually call your congressman or senators, the office, they actually record the number of times people call for a specific cause and bring that to the floor. So they actually do pay attention, and they save those stories that you tell them in a database, and they use those to share, to just, get our stories out there and how important all these changes are, and the support of all this funding and everything is, to our community, but also so many other medical communities. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's so I'm just reflecting on my own experience from Hill Day a couple of Hill Days ago. You guys went last year and Kim Hugendorn went the year before, but so it's been a minute since I've been in that room myself. But I think about we were literally sitting at dinner one evening, all the advocates together, and uh, some guest that was at the restaurant, like not even in our party, was like, "What are you guys doing here?" Like, there's just so much power coming out of that room. Like, and so the idea that as advocates, we have the ability to come together and really rally around a common goal is really powerful. And seeing too that we're not alone in the skin world, if you will. Like, there's a lot of people from all kinds of different patient organizations, and seeing all of their advocates on the Hill all together, it's really a unifying experience. And I think, I know, Alyssa, you're wearing your Hill Day t-shirt, but it says one voice. And I think that's really the champion cry of the CSD, is like, yes, we're all different and we all represent all these different facets of skin disease. But at the end of the day, we do want to have that one unified voice on the Hill, and it really does bring that together nicely, doesn't it?
Mhm.
Yeah. And it was from people all over the country. So it was
Mhm.
just, from all walks of life. And it was just really, really inspiring.
That was
Yeah,
something I was going to add on is like I was educated myself on so many conditions that I wasn't aware of, and like the things that people were lacking. We're lacking in a lot of areas. And then there was a lady in my group, and she has um, ichthyosis. So she has like that really dry, thick, scaly skin. And she gets like one tiny vial of this cream that helps her a month, and insurance won't cover it. But so she has to like ration where she uses her medication. And honestly, she needs it all over her body, but she chooses to use it on her face because that's how much she has to get by. And it's such, everybody is facing such different issues like within this big community. And all of them are so equally important.
yeah, that's absolutely true. It's really interesting, especially as you think about how pharma impacts so much of that, and like especially with the Pharmacy Benefit Management Transparency Act that you guys advocated for, and the fact that in this country, so many times pharma companies and their prior authorizations are making decisions for medical care, and that's really disappointing. And I was really glad that you guys, that's to see that on the ask list again, and hopefully we can make some progress on that. Um, I did also want to mention, if you guys had any advice for any future advocates, or advice for someone who's never participated in a Hill Day, what would you do? What would you say to encourage them to get involved?
I would say you don't have to be an expert. You just need to be someone who actually cares. It's not about having all the answers to give them. It's about showing up, being present, sharing your perspective. Your story is more powerful than you can imagine. So by participating, you're helping create change, not just for your family, but the entire community.
Very
And I
good.
think it's like such a great way to fulfill like your purpose in this journey. I don't know. That was like something that really like stood out to me, is like I felt like I had purpose, and there's not a lot of things that give me that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And wear comfortable shoes. That's my
Yeah.
Important.
Yeah.
Danielle, any lessons learned you would add?
Yeah, I would just say, I know things can get really heavy in any political climate, and you just know that you can make a difference. And even if it doesn't feel like you can, if once you're on the Hill, once you're in those rooms with those people, once you're with all those other people, I think we had about 100 people at CSD, you feel like you really can make a difference. And it's very empowering. And like, you were saying, Lauren, it's not just skin diseases either, like, cancer research, all these other important advocacy groups that are there. It's just really empowering and it's a really great experience. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, and I just quickly want to connect this experience with CSD to another advocacy opportunity that happens every August. I've participated several times. I know Jenna Connors has participated a few times, but it's called Rare Across America. So it's an organization with it's a advocacy day through the Every Life Foundation, and they host it. Like I said, kind of in between the Congress during the August recess. So while the senators are out for their August recess, but it's an opportunity for people to do virtual meetings with their legislators. So the three of you would be able to participate again. If you're interested, you can just sign up. But this opportunity is also open to anyone in the Nevus Outreach community. So we'll be sure to put it in Membership Mondays and do some social media posts once registration opens. It's not open quite yet. I expect it to maybe be open in July, but I just wanted to be able to have these reflections while you guys were kind of more fresh off of your experience, but do a plug for that later in the year. So in August, we'll have an opportunity to partner with the Every Life Foundation and participate in Rare Across America. And they do really great trainings and they'll schedule all your meetings for you. You sign up and then they'll send you a link with all of your meeting times. And I've done those meetings many times, and you do share the same stories, and they'll have different asks, usually pretty similar to the coalition asks as well. But last in 2023, I'm sorry, in 2024, they had 425 advocates do 242 meetings during Rare Across America. So it's a really big Hill Day. And we did see in 2024 backing of rare disease funding and priorities. So that was really cool too, to like go to the Hill, ask for something, and then a couple months later, like see the legislation come out as a result of that. So just a really cool experience that anyone in the Nevus community can have from their living room on a virtual meeting like this one coming up in August. So stay tuned. We'll be sure to put out information on that. Anything you guys would like to say in closing?
We want you to go advocate.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much. Thank you, ladies, for joining us tonight. And thank you to all of you who are joining us on Campfire Chat. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.